So our last presentation today is by Chad Canfield. He's our Consumer Protection Operation Manager. So when I say our, that's the Attorney General's Consumer Protection Operation Manager. Chad is an expert in elder scams and fraud awareness. So Chad, you can take it away.
Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Catherine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
As Catherine said, my name is Chad Canfield, and I'm the operations manager of the Consumer Protection Team. We talk to people who've been the victims of or are suspicious of being scammed far too often. What I'd like to do today is to pass on some things we've learned to help you keep from getting scammed. 1 in 10 Americans age 60 plus has experienced elder abuse, and one of the most frequent forms of elder abuse is financial exploitation. One form of financial abuse are scams targeted at an older adult's money or their identity information. Next slide, please. Defending yourself against scams and fraud starts with awareness and education. In this presentation, we're going to cover the following 3 points. We're going to talk about scam strategies, we're going to talk about scam psychology, and we're going to talk about some specific scams. Let's first take a look at the possible reasons why scammers disproportionately target older individuals. Next slide, please. Perhaps no demographic is more susceptible to a scam than those aged 60 and older. According to a report from the FBI's Internet Crime Center, older Americans are being targeted by scammers in record numbers. In 2021, people aged 60 and older lost more than $3 billion to scams. I'm going to say that again. They lost more than $3 billion to scams. And this number may be low because many older adults do not report scams. Now, it is believed by con artists that older adults are more likely to hand over their money or personal information because of 4 things. They tend to be more trusting and polite, and they don't ask questions. Therefore, they may not realize they are being scammed. This allows the scam to go on for a lengthy amount of time, and in this case, time means money. They may have financial savings, they may own a home, or they may have great credit, all of which make them attractive to scammers. Elderly individuals may be lonely or isolated and eager to talk to or befriend even a stranger, especially during the pandemic. And couple that with diminished cognitive abilities that could lead to poor decision making, and you have a situation that's ripe for a scammer. Now remember, these are the kinds of factors that a scammer is going to consider why an older adult is a great target. Additionally, seniors may be less inclined to report the fraud because they don't know how or where to report it. They're ashamed about being scammed, or they're concerned that their relatives will lose confidence in their ability to manage their own financial affairs. Another reason is the victim just isn't aware that they're being scammed until the damage is done, or they fear some sort of retaliation from the person that's scamming them. During the pandemic, our entire population, including older adults, were forced to shop online and rely on social media outlets, some for the very first time. In order to stay connected with others, this required them to embrace the tools of technology, including cell phones, laptops, and other digital devices, as well as learning how to navigate the World Wide Web and social media. All of this creates a perfect storm, and it provides opportunities for scammers to capitalize on people's desire to socialize and their lack of knowledge about the safety and security of their electronic devices. The power is yours, though. I don't want this to scare you. The power is yours. Remember, you have the power to say no, to hang up the phone, to delete a text or an email. You only become a victim when you provide the money or the personal information that the scammer, the criminal, is after. So how do we identify a scam? There's 4 basic scam strategies to remember, and this will help you if you're contacted by one of these folks. The truth is, most of these scams follow the same pattern each time, and maybe the name changes, but the 4 factors remain the same. So once you know the tricks, it's easier to spot the scams. First of all, there's going to be an approach from the scammer. There's a delivery method that they're going to use. There's communication back and forth. And then the fourth and the thing that you're going to be able to identify that this is a scam is the payment method. So let's talk about each of those. All right, so the approach. To deliver their lies, a scammer's got to first contact you. And they're increasingly sophisticated in how they do so. taking advantage of new technology to make contact and stay under the radar. Their approach, whether it's by phone, text, email, or social media, all uses the internet. That allows them to be anonymous or to mask their identity. And then that allows them to approach you to try to convince you of their scam. So that's the next thing we're going to talk about. The delivery method. Phone calls are the most common manner in which con artists make contact. Scam calls are made to personal cell phones. They're made to homes and businesses every day in a wide variety of scams, from threatening tax scams to financial windfalls. You won the lottery, or they're going to help you to get a computer virus off your screen. Telephone caller ID can easily be disguised or spoofed, and it's a very common trick scammers use to get you to answer your phone and to engage with the caller. That's the important part, getting you to engage. The availability of cheap voice over internet protocol allows callers to make thousands of calls over the internet from a call center in just minutes, and they operate from nearly anywhere in the world with randomly chosen telephone numbers. They're not specifically targeting you, they're just dialing a lot of numbers and hoping somebody picks up. Next slide, please. Another way a scammer can get to you is either through email or text. And these, if it's an email, a mass email can go out to thousands or tens of thousands of people, in which case they're trying to get you to click on a link and try to provide information. That's called phishing. If they do it through text, it's the same idea. They're going to target a large number of potential targets, and they're going to hope to have you click on a link, maybe ingest malware, find an offer that's too good to be true, and that's called smishing if it's done through text. Next slide, please. Another way that scammers reach you is through social networking platforms, potentially a dating site or a chat room, any kind of an online forum that allows a scammer to befriend you and enter into your private life, which may give them personal details, which they can then use against you or your family or your friends when they try to perpetrate a scam on you. The other one that's happened a lot is online shopping. When you're getting away from brick and mortar stores and you're using things like Facebook Marketplace and some of those other sites, the fact that there's an offer that may be too good to be true, or there's something on that you see on sale there, it may turn out to be too good to be true, and if you lose your money, it's hard to claw it back. The other methods that folks use to scam you, the good old-fashioned door-to-door scam. Usually may involve a scammer knocking at your door to promote a good or service that's ultimately not delivered or of very poor quality. And then bulk mailing. Bulk mailing still used because scammers know that if they send a lottery letter or a sweepstakes scam or an investment opportunity, seniors still like to send and receive physical correspondence, and they continue to utilize this method. Once they've made contact, they move on to the delivery method. And on the slide here, we have a list of the kinds of things that they pretend to be. Successful scams deliver believable lies. They pretend to be something or someone they're not. A package you're expecting, a government agent, an expert investor. They're a lottery official, a utility company employee, they're tech support, or maybe even they're a romantic admirer. They pretend to be someone important or someone you want to talk to, and they want you to believe they're contacting you on behalf of official and important business simply to get you to engage. Once you engage, they start to sell the lie. And the next method that a scammer uses is communication and grooming. They're going to tell you some kind of elaborate lie that may convince you. They're going to maybe use pieces of personal information that they've gleaned from your social media or something like that to make themselves appear legitimate and lead you to believe maybe you've dealt with them before. They may continue to contact you regularly to build trust and convince you that they're your friend, partner, or romantic interest. If they do that, that's kind of known as a long con. They play with your emotions by using the excitement of a win, the promise of everlasting love, or sympathy for some unfortunate accident, or fear of an arrest or fine. That sells the story. They're going to use sales tactics saying it's a limited time offer. You got to act now. Act before you think. They're going to create that sense of urgency so you don't have time to think. If you won the lottery, oh my gosh, the lottery expires by midnight tonight. You need to pay this fee in order to bring millions home. We need you to act right this minute. Don't talk to anybody because it's secret. Get out, go get a card, go do something so that we can get the money from you to perpetrate this scam. The scammer wants you to lower your defenses, trust the story, and act quickly or irrationally when they proceed to the final stage. And the final stage is asking you for money. That's the next slide. This is the key. When if you're taken in by all the things that we talked about before, the method of payment is the biggest clue that you're going to have that it's a scam. It's how they want you to pay. Crooks are going to demand money that's sent in a form that is not traceable or reversible. So the red flags you're going to watch for is, are they going to ask you to wire money using MoneyGram or Western Union? Wire transfers are mostly untraceable and offer the consumer limited protections. They may ask you to pay a fee on a gift card or a retail card or a preloaded debit card. And then what they're going to ask you to do is to read those numbers to them on the phone. And once you do that, they can deploy that money. They get to use the money and it's gone. The money's virtually untraceable. They also can use payment apps like peer-to-peer payment apps like Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, Google Pay, and others. These apps aren't regulated and really should be saved for people you know. Don't use a Cash App with somebody you don't know. The last way, and we're seeing scammers get into this now, is to ask for payment in cryptocurrency. It's a new form of a payment request, and the victims may be directed to a Bitcoin ATM and told to purchase Bitcoin using cash. I just talked to someone who was scammed for $4,500 on this scam the other day. Once the Bitcoin payment is transferred to the caller, the money is gone and cannot be traced. So the biggest clue about a scam is going to be the form of payment. You can be taken by everything else, but when we get to that point where they're asking you to pay in this weird way, if something seems odd, it probably is, and that's when you know it's a scam. So any request for payment by any form of unusual methods is a major clue that it's a scam. Next slide, please. Now, why do people become victims? In an industry that literally steals billions of dollars from Americans every year, it's important we understand the psychology behind a scam. One of the hardest things to understand about scams is, how do people become victims? When you hear about a scam secondhand, the red flags can seem obvious. What isn't obvious in the retelling of the story is the intense emotional state scammers create. According to research, it's not who you are, but how you are. I'm going to say that again. It's not who you are, but how you are. It's your state of mind that determines your chance of becoming a victim. It doesn't help that fraudsters are trained in emotional and psychological manipulation. So, next slide, please. What's the goal? Each scam and all the components they're built on have the same end goal. They want you to hand over some money, or they want to get account information or personal information, like social security number, your date of birth, maybe your mother's maiden name. And just as we should never give money to complete strangers, regardless of who they say they are, we should also keep our personal information safe. With just a few bits of personal information, thieves can create false accounts in our names and start racking up debt. Aggressive and threatening impersonation calls by criminals remain near the top 10 list of scams. Scam calls can be ignored, scam emails sent to your spam folder or avoided altogether, and scam texts can be deleted. Remember, you, the consumer, have the power here. Until you've given the scammer your money or the information they want, you are in charge. All you got to do is hang up the phone or stop contact with them. Don't give them the money they want and they'll go away. So I wanted to talk about some of the most common scams that we receive in our office. And let's talk about imposter scams. Okay, imposter scams, there's a number of variations, but basically the caller is going to claim to be somebody they're not, and they're going to hope to instill some sort of fear or excitement in you to get you to react quickly without thinking. Some of the forms of this is they pretend to be a lottery official, informing you that you've won a prize or a large sum of money. They may be a government employee. They could be the IRS or the Social Security Administration. They may claim you've got back taxes or that your Social Security number is compromised, and they're going to attempt to get money from you or get your Social Security information, your Social Security number. They could be a family member pretending to be, or they could pretend to be a family member, specifically a grandchild, needing emergency financial assistance. That's known as the grandparent scam. They can pretend to be tech support, calling about an issue with your computer or electronic device. Again, they're looking for control of your computer. They want to try to get information from you. They can pretend to be the utility company. They're going to call you about an unpaid bill or overpayment. Or they may be a romantic admirer, a person you met online only, and in some cases, this scam can cost a victim up to 6 figures. Next. So let's talk about the lottery sweepstakes for a minute. They're trying to get your money and information through a fake lottery that they claim you've won a prize. But in order to get that prize, you've won millions of dollars. But in order to get that prize, you just have to either give them your personal information, or you've got to potentially give them some money in order to collect that prize. So remember this. If you didn't enter the contest, you didn't